It all ready to go?
Okay.
Are we nice making our presenter also do the
I
slides?
know, right? Take your time, man.
Yeah,
If I go on for too long, just let me know and gotcha. I'll try to shorten it up. But first, I'd like to thank the one in the community for letting me come out here and present. It's a terrible idea. Should never have me present or do anything. But my name is Edward Perez, and I'm a rising senior at Chico State. I'm supposed to graduate in May. So if you want to see me walk, let me know. I can get you guys tickets. But I'm here to present my idea or concept of the business that I want to pursue here in the near future. And it's called the Big League Exchange. Before I hop into all this stuff, I just want to tell you guys a little story that led to the creation of the Big League Exchange. So just a year and a half ago, one of my dad's best friends had passed away, and he passed down all of his cards to his son. His son called my dad and I up, and he said, "I have all these cards. I don't know what to do with it. I need help. If not, I'm just going to sell it and get rid of it." So he said, "Cool, we'll take care of it." We show up, we open up the garage door, and there's about 40 boxes stacked from top to bottom. And each box has about 300 to 400 cards in it each. Wow. So my dad and I looked at each other and we said, this is going to take a year and a half to complete. So we just said, screw it, we're here anyway, let's take care of it. And halfway through the day, I walk by the son who's passed down the cards. And I noticed in one of the boxes is a rookie Kobe card, right? So I grab the rookie Kobe card and I see another one, right? There's another one in there, so I grab that one. And then there's another one. Wow. So I keep grabbing some, and he has a whole row of about probably 50 to 75 rookie Kobe cards. And I was like, dude, do you know that you had a whole row of rookie Kobe cards? And he looked at me, kid's like 7 years old, by the way. He goes, Kobe Bryant. And I'm just like, dude, what's wrong with you? But the day finished, we only got through about maybe 1 or 2 boxes of cards. And I thought to myself, there's got to be an easier way, a faster way to go through all these cards. And if you're somebody who's 7 years old and doesn't know who Kobe Bryant is, there should be something that tells you how much all this is worth. So that one led to the creation of the Big League Exchange. Now, I don't have anything physical to show you guys exactly what it is, but I do have my minimum viable product. These are the 3 things I want established in the app when I first make it. First one that I want is, I want to make sure the app is easy to use and really, really efficient. I want it to where you don't have to know anything about sports. And also I want to take the process of organizing, trading, selling cards, and I want to cut it right in half. Next is gamification. If you don't know what that is, that's just basically rewarding people for using your app. Make it seem like a game. I want it to be very immersive for the users, and I want them to feel rewarded so they keep coming back and using it. Last but not least, I want to make sure that it is not only available on the mobile phone as an app. I want it to be compatible with the website as well. So that everything you do on the app can be transferred to like a laptop or the website. So they can use it 24/7, anytime, anywhere on the planet. But it's not just an app where you can find out how much your card is worth and stuff like that. The biggest thing about this is that you take your phone, all you need is your mobile camera, take your card, you scan it, and the AI recognizes the card and saves it to your collection. Not only does it organize it and save it for you, it will also tell you exactly everything about the card. So for example, I take my phone, I scan this card of Mickey Mantle. It'll tell me what year it is, who it is, how rare it is, the brand, and the average price of the card. Not only will it tell you everything about the card, now I'm talking about money for people that want to know about the money. First, I want to mention that it is going to be a free website and phone app. I want it to be free forever for everybody. Basically, where the money's going to come from, I'm going to have a marketplace that's tailored specifically just for card collectors. Obviously, you buy the cards you want, sell the ones you don't want. No third-party vendor, so you're selling directly through us. And we'll be taking commission on every sale. So depending on the product, I'll be taking 2 to 10% on each item that is sold through the marketplace. Will that be the only source of revenue? For now, yes, but I do plan on adding other sources soon. Should I keep, is this getting too long or? should I-
No, you're fine.
So I just want to mention that the sports card market is valued at $5.4 billion. eBay accounts for almost 90% of that. The sports card market is not where you buy cards from Topps at Target. It's where just people are buying and selling cards in between each other. And that's again, $5.4 million. So for my marketing plan, I want to bring awareness not only just to serious collectors, but I also want to bring awareness to ghost collectors. Ghost collectors is a term that I came up with myself. And those are people like the son and the wife who had a ton of cards. They just didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So once I bring awareness to them, I also want to establish ourselves as a place that is not only an information site for people to find the value of their card. I want it to be a place for collectors to go to. I want to be the place that's for collectors. So once I establish positioning like that, I want to get them engaged for gamification. I want them to keep coming back to the app. I want them to have fun. That's basically what I want. Once they have fun, obviously, the more fun you have, the more you use it. That leads to more people buying and selling it. This is just a graph of the competitors. The size of the bubble, the size of the bubble is the amount of market share that they have. And this is just a graph of performance by customer happiness and ease of use. These guys, I don't really want to talk about these guys, but these two I do want to mention. TCG Player is doing the exact same thing that I'm doing right now, but they only focus on trading card games. So that's stuff like Pokemon, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, stuff like that. Collects, I put a star right next to those guys because not too long ago, back in January, they just made the same thing that I was thinking. However, the biggest problem with Collects is that one, they don't have a marketplace for you to sell on. So you have to use eBay and Facebook and other stuff like that, which makes it very difficult to use. And not only do they not have a marketplace, they don't have anything that makes you want to come back and keep using it. It's just the data.
Yeah.
You know what I mean by that is like, say, I know like everybody, like for baseball, I know the rookies, I know who's good, I know who's not good, right? So if I buy a card from Target and I get all these cards, I already know that this guy's good, this is gonna be worth money in the future, or if this guy's bad, I'll just get rid of it. There's nothing there for me to keep using their app for somebody who's up to date on sports. So this is my team. It is just two of us. Obviously me, I'm the CEO, founder, and my roommate, Matthew Duffy, absolute marketing genius. I love the kid. I believe in him and he believes in me. And that's really all that matters.
Cool.
So the plan so far, this is just long-term. I like to think ahead, long-term. I should have done some short-term stuff about this. But first I need to get the app and the website developed before I really do anything else. Once I do that, I want to develop a strong foundation of collectors and users. And once I do that, I can start increasing the amount of features I have for each app. Not each app, but increase the features and expand possibly to other cards. So
Other what? Digital?
other cards.
Okay, other cards, right.
So to save you guys from the last question that you're going to ask me, my call to the Chico community, well, not a call, I need $10,000 to trade the app.
Write me a check today. This is my last
So
name.
if you have $10,000, just give it to me, okay? But I would like to know if there are any competitions or grants available for me to raise any capital. I know there was a competition that's on the 8th, but I missed the deadline for it by 1 day. Story of my college life, always missing the deadline by 1 day. Relate to that. And if you guys know any developers, that could also help greatly in the future. Maybe if I don't have to pay $10,000, I'm sorry, I don't. But yeah, developers would really help. Other than that, anything regarding my presentation or maybe even financials, if you guys can help me out like that, or just point me in the right direction. Or maybe the way I dress, if you don't like that, just let me know. But other than that, that was the big exchange, and thank you guys for listening.
All right.
Awesome. Do we have any questions for Ed?
Is that a question, Gunnar?
Yo, I have a few questions. Yeah.
No.
So the first question is on it was like TLC exchange or something, right?
TCG.
And then CallX, right? So they have the same kind of thing, right? You can see other people's cards, but you can't buy them through them, right? Can you contact the person who owns the cards though through the app?
Yes, you can contact them, especially for the CallX one. They have, they list a card for sale.
Yeah.
You can contact them, say, hey, I want this card. They're like, cool, whatever. Then you have to go to eBay or
Yeah.
Craigslist.
Or like email them.
So they
right?
leverage an existing infrastructure so that they didn't have to build it themselves,
Yes. Okay.
even if the infrastructure is a pain in the ass. Okay.
It's terrible.
Yeah, no, it is, absolutely. Okay, go ahead.
And okay, yeah. So second question is, are they very reliable? Is there any way you can get like catfish into buying a card maybe that isn't? And how do you tell quality too?
That was
Like-
one thing that I was really thinking about. I think TCG Player, they send cards that people buy to TCG Player first.
Yeah.
And then they make sure like, okay, this is cool, this is the right card, they send whatever they want, and then they send it to the person who bought it.
Okay.
So they have it appraised, like
Yes.
they appraise it and they
Yeah.
they'll stamp.
So they do middleman it in that way, like they see everything that goes to their website. Okay.
Right.
I got a number of questions and some comments too. So first of all, you want one of the main features, to be clear, to be that the phone will take a picture of the card and then it will automatically be recognized as to what card it is.
Yes.
Right, that's a key feature.
Yes.
And that is already in play with both of those two competitors, the gaming cards and the sports cards people, right? So the sports cards people, what were they called again? Not T.
Collects.
Yeah, collects, right. So are they linked to a database that has all the data of all the cards?
I'm pretty sure there are a couple places that have around 4 to 5 million pieces of data.
Right, because I mean, step one for this to be feasible at all is that you need to have a publicly available database that has millions. I mean, you're not going to go by hand enter every card, right? There's got to be a pre-existing database of all the cards that, in fact, has all the information that you want. It's just that it's not accessible from your phone based on a picture, right? I mean, like if somebody has the card, they could already go to a free database online, type in the player and the year, and it would tell them how much the card is worth, right?
Yes.
Like that information is not yours. That is already
Public
there,
domain.
That is already.
public domain, right? So the key would be that you would make it easier to access that information by having a picture taken of the card, and then it automatically, the app pulls it up onto your phone. Okay. So,
I'm sorry, not pulls it, like, it doesn't take you to Safari.
yeah, no, I know, it feeds it in
Yes.
through that, so it appears like it's coming through your own branded app,
Yes.
the information, right? It doesn't link it to, right? The user would never know where the data is coming from, basically, right?
Unless they like want to know exactly, sure, but.
Right.
Didn't I connect you two in the past?
Yeah, sure, I've spoken to about
It's
this
so nice
before.
to see him in person. I've been talking to
Yeah, I
him
know,
for
I've never
years.
met you in person.
Yeah, I know.
I was gonna say hi after this, but.
Did I ever connect you two?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I did. Okay, good.
That's
Keep
right,
grilling
that's
him.
right, yeah,
Keep
okay.
going. Keep grilling.
So, I think it's an amazing idea, right? The only problem is the competition, but as you say, there's not actually that much competition, right? Like, so when people say, well, there's already somebody doing it, in a way that's good.
Mhm.
Because
Okay.
if you're the only person doing something, then it's just, well, maybe it sounds great, but there's some problem with it, because believe me, in this world, any good idea has been I mean, it's actually a fun exercise to do. Think of something and then find an app for it, and you will find the app, right? Like there's 5 million apps. It's almost impossible to think of something, no matter how crazy, that there isn't already an app for. But there's like 10 apps for lots of things, right? So if there's going to be 2 Eddies and these guys, that's not a big deal. So competition isn't necessarily a problem in that sense. You don't want there to be too many.
Validates the market.
Right, it validates the market. So you're in a good sweet spot, it seems to me, because there's only 1 or 2, which is good because there are some, but not too many.
Right.
So there is a bit of a time crunch on this thing, you know, you want to get it done.
I want to, yeah, I have a small amount of time to make it better than that.
Right, exactly. The one thing is that as you're pointing out, so the existing one doesn't have its own marketplace. So it tells you the information of your card, then you use that, go to another site to actually trade it on eBay or something like that.
I'd say it's half a marketplace. You can say that you have these cards for sale and list them for price, right? The only problem is you can't sell it through them on the
Right.
same app. So
Right.
it does take you, so you are right, it does take you to other places where they're actually selling the card.
So that would definitely be a differentiator. It would all happen on your app right there.
One-stop shop.
Right. The problem with that is, of course, that's going to be a lot more than $10,000, right?
More than $10,000.
Yeah, so I mean,
100.
like, could you tell us a little bit more about what you wanted to do with that 10,000? Like what, because you didn't really break down the budget, right? Because, yeah, I mean, to
Because
do
he's waiting
all
for
of
that
this,
question.
yeah, like, just to be clear, to do all of this properly, right? To have the image sensing that it'll see the image and be able to find it on the database automatically and pull the data and have the marketplace. You want to know how much that would cost? Like at a low
He can
end?
tell you.
Yeah.
I would love to know.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably between 100 to 200,000.
A little
Right.
And
more.
so you need 10% or more for F'age, so you need 250,000.
Okay.
Right, so just to be clear,
He's like-
Very expensive.
right, apps are very expensive to make.
And how much time would that take, Daniel? Probably
Probably-
8 months,
Yeah, I would say about maybe 6 months, something like that.
but then pilot, and then refining, and then
Right.
adding, right.
Right.
That'd be, I think, a full 18,
Yeah, well, I
you know,
would-
minus pandemics
Yeah.
and wars.
and yeah, the problem is that my programmers are in Ukraine, so they only work part-time because they only have, 10 hours electricity a day in the bomb shelter where they work. But that's a little bit of a wrench that I hadn't expected. But anyway, so that's how much, but for 10,000, you could still do a very, very good, prototype that is like a working model that actually does sense the cards and tells you which card it is, and you can have a little mock-up of a small market with a few people involved in it. Like you can do a lot for
So you
10,000.
could test an MVP for 10.
Then,
Yes, you could. So just to keep that all in mind, right? And then what you do is you use the MVP instead of a PowerPoint. You're like, hey, dudes, this is it. And they can actually use it on, a potential investor can actually use it on their phone. And then you say, and with your money, I will make this so that, many users can use it at the same time. And a lot more features will actually work. But that's what we would want to do probably with the 10,000 is make and it's more than a prototype. I mean, it would be a working thing. It just wouldn't be something you'd want to go to with on
So
a
the Apple Store
commercial,
and Mouse
yeah,
Store.
something like that. So just to give you a sense of what's involved here.
So somebody was talking about NFTs. Was that you?
NFTs is something I have absolutely no idea
Okay.
anything about. I've just heard really bad things about it, to be honest, and I don't want to.
Yeah, and we were talking previously, I was just bringing up how car manufacturers, or any rare type of collector item, you could turn that into an NFT. And I think
Right.
car manufacturers are already doing that sort of thing.
Mhm.
So I don't know if that could relate to cards, if you don't want to devalue the card or crease it or bend it, you could have a virtual version.
Was that Eva? You sent me something a while ago. It was like a Michael Jordan card and you can invest in it. Is that what?
Yep, yep.
Oh, that's cool.
So Start Engine, which is a kind of funding platform, although kind of not, it's not Kickstarter, it's not, WeFunder, but it's kind of in between Angel and the third, the kicking butt, I'll tell you. There's a business that's doing that they are promoting and funding, and so that's why I was sharing that information with you.
Are they using?
See what else is going on in the market, right?
Are they using Engine Coin or is that something else?
Oh, I don't know. That's my bit bucket's full right now. I can't recall that. But I'll pull it back up and share it with you, Ken.
There's different blockchains that have different efficiencies.
Mhm.
So like Bitcoin and Ethereum are pretty inefficient, but Solana is supposed to be like something that would take minutes or a long time. On those other things would take seconds on Solana, and that's just something I know of. There's probably there's dozens.
So comments. I'll jump in. So when you're talking, if you're talking to a different audience other than us, when you say, here's my MVP, that's kind of misleading. So you could say, here's what I've identified
Okay.
for my MVP. Now that would be more representative, okay? Next, I would, I think that if you could scrounge up the 10K to have a prototype, we'll get you a decent haircut and a suit, and we'll get you in front of. I know, Ed, so I could do that. But no, but I mean, like, if I was gonna have you go out and do a dog and pony show, right, with your prototype, I'm gonna introduce you to angel investors and VCs, right? I would probably have you test your chops a little bit, like in a week or this Friday. Heather, I was gonna call her Wendy. Heather and I are gonna go to the Reading Venture Conference. All right, and that would have, and one of their prizes is $10,000, right? So, and startups that are starting is 1,000, and then startups that are scaling, it's 10,000, you know, that kind of stuff. I think that would be a good place for you to practice.
Oh,
As
yeah,
well.
for sure.
The people that do investing up there, which is only a handful of people, and it's very incestuous, and they would be interested in something like what you're doing. Now, if I was to introduce, so I wouldn't waste your time to say Moneta Ventures in Sacramento, even though they're close and they're big, because their focus is health, biomedical devices, things like that. They'd be like,
Sacramento?
no, Moneta Ventures.
Oh,
Yeah, so they're a venture company. They have 3 very large funds, but it doesn't mean that you're their cup of tea, right? So there's another thing there's one thing to have a good story and maybe have an MVP and like a prototype and there's another thing altogether to look at, okay, who is going to be interested in investing in this? Just because it might be a good idea to invest in it, doesn't mean, you know, you'll get pushback from people that even though you could have one meeting one day, right? And they'll be like, oh my God, we can't wait to write the sky check. And then you get a meeting the next day going, you know, this really doesn't fit in our portfolio. It doesn't mean that it's a bad idea, right? But it also doesn't mean those people, you want to share any equity with those people that want to write you a check tomorrow. So we'll talk more about that offline, but getting you prepared for those kind of things, you know, and making sure that you're not a day late. Right? Right? No. I mean, it's part of, you're gonna hit some walls, right? It's not like you do this stuff all the time, right? It's not like you grow up doing this stuff. Right. So, I mean, that's why you're doing it now. You're practicing, you're getting feedback, you're getting, you know. So anyway, I'll quit being mother hen. Go.
I just, real quick, to narrow down your target market a little more, who really would you think has trading cards, or who you would be really targeting as your market to use your app?
When you think about your low hanging fruit versus all the way up to your ghost.
It would probably.
Is it everyone that has credit card or trading cards? Sorry.
The easiest market probably would be for kids, especially with how much they like using apps and, you know, iPads and stuff like that. It would just be so easy for them to get involved in.
Very cool. The gamification. and all that.
So, yeah, that would probably be the easy, that's probably the low hanging fruit. Then I guess the next thing is just every collector,
Mhm.
basically.
Yeah.
And where are some of the marketplaces that they hang out? You already know that, right? Because these are your people. Is that right?
It's most, before it collects, it's all kinds of events that all these collectors go to and just walk around, buy cards and that kind of stuff. But they're all starting to kind of little bit get into collect
Mhm.
and what they're doing. Yeah. So that answers the question.
Yeah, no, totally. That was just something to think about. I'll think of my next question. Go ahead.
You're right. So I saw the sizes of those bubbles for the market share, but it wasn't associated with actual figures. Like, do you know how much Collects is making?
Collects is the only one I just didn't know. I don't think they really even make any money from there. I just wanted to emphasize that. Collects
Okay.
is the-
Any idea how much the game card trading
Trading?
makes?
I think it was 5.8 million a year.
Yeah, it might be something like that.
They are part of the sports card market.
Right, okay. So in terms of gamification, I was thinking, Fantasy sports is a big deal, right? People like to, and they make a fantasy team and stuff like that, and then you play them against each other, whatever. I don't know anything about sports. But is it possible that you could have a game feature where you get to make a fantasy team, but you can only have people on your team whose card you own? And then people can, so there's an incentive to get cards.
I like that.
And then once you have and then you use the actual stat. Well, I don't know how fantasy games work. Is it like you make a team and then you see how the people do that year in actual play, and then you pretend that if they were your team, that's how your team would have done?
It's like a point system, how well they do it.
If for a touchdown, you get points.
Right, okay, so you could do something like that, but I mean, a lot of these guys are dead and stuff. What you can do is like have a computer use their stats. And then the computer computes based on, averages of how they would have done if they had all played together as a team. And then you can only have people on your team whose card you own, then you play against other users of the app. It's like you make a team and then the computer uses, there's all sorts of existing stats that we know about that determine that are based on how games have been played. So you use the stats from past games and then enter it in. Then there's of course a little random feature because, it's not going to be, and then you play these virtual games with the players whose cards you own and see how they do.
I think that's amazing. I'd be doing that right now.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, that might be a really fun game.
So
Huh?
that's adding a really.
That's another 100,000.
a great level of gamification that would be not only having one of the things you identified in your presentation was that going to collects didn't make you feel like you wanted to come back. Right. And since you emphasized early on that you want it to be more of a community and you want to have, you want your cost of customer acquisition to be absorbed quickly because you want them back over and over and over again. Right. And they want it to be an experience. This would be fantastic. This would be fantastic.
Yeah, like I'm just saying, okay, so for the card games, the other company, right, that does card games, like, aren't there all sorts of fantasy card games where you have a card and it has like the experience points of your player and this, and then you slap them down and the other guy slaps them down, then whoever has more points sort of wins that round. You just do that with this, basically is what I'm saying, right?
That's very cool.
No, it seems.
I wonder if there's something that does that already.
Yeah, baseball together.
Think about Yu-Gi-Oh!
Okay.
Have those things and that's cool. And that fizzled out, there's none of that anymore.
I know any sites that are doing it, are you saying in terms of cards or?
Yeah, like I wonder if there are sites where you can make, well, but you'd have to prove that you own the cards. You'd have to have a picture of the card that you put up. Because that's the whole point, right? Because
But
it
in
also
your
incentivizes
site,
you
you'd be able
to buy the cards so that you can use the card in the game, right? But actually, I think that's really, beef it up. Yeah, I just thought of it now.
Wow.
Well,
That would be
I
interesting.
have a question about that. Making a game out of it sounds like a great idea.
Mhm.
The way that fantasy works is people put together a team,
Mhm.
but they put money on their team.
Yeah.
And then
Right,
they have another in the league, somebody else has got their team and they've got money on their team.
right.
Okay, so the question that I would have about that is, okay, I'm old, okay, so I know all these old players like Gordie Howe and Al Kaline.
Right.
Okay, so I can put together a team of players that I like, if I've got their cards.
Right.
Okay, but then I gotta have a competition against somebody else that puts together their team.
Right.
Okay, so then you gotta figure out how you do the financial on that. I mean, because is it free? And then if it's free, but you don't win anything, how are you gonna keep them interested?
Well, maybe just like, just a quick, I guess, more of a comment, but maybe a way to do it is, if you want to make your team better, you have to buy cards through the app. So if you're already spending money, then if you just throw a cash prize at the end, then they're gonna spend money on cards to make their team better, right?
Shortstop.
So then you're driving up more trades through the site
There you
and
go.
it's a competition to see who can have the better team.
Yeah.
So instead, you can just throw in a free cash prize with a free entry. And then people are gonna keep buying cards, make their team better and better and get closer and closer to winning.
Right, yeah, you've got a cash prize and like,
A league,
Yeah,
a league.
you have a league and whoever wins the World Series, you get to choose a card.
right.
Card you want, free one, all that stuff.
Well,
Right.
between this price and this price,
Yeah.
not the $400,000,
Yeah, one of the things that you mentioned was that your low hanging fruit is younger people.
Yes.
Do they have any money?
By free entries.
I mean, it depends on-
Parents might be buying. the
Yeah,
cards
there you
for
go.
them.
You got, that's what you got to figure out because I collected cards a long time ago, long time ago. But I didn't keep them all when my parents didn't pay for them. And so if you're a collector now, how do you get them?
Right.
How do you pay for them? And then through your app, okay, I want a card that for, all I got is old people's names.
It's okay, you
Lot of
can,
fees.
there's a few of us.
Rocket Richard, you know who Rocket Richard is, hockey player.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted his card, okay?
Mhm.
Well, can I get it from you? Can I put that name in and say, I want a card and you're gonna supply me with a source where I could go get that from?
Yes, just a.
Perfect. Because there's collectors out there that, but somebody just sold, bought something from Michael Jordan. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. So there's money out there and they're not kids, they're paying that kind of money.
Yeah.
So if I want something, if I can come to you and you can hook me up, great deal, 2%.
Yeah, give 10% of that, 400K, there we go.
That's what I'm talking about.
$50
So-
is 10%.
But then you gotta,
We're in a case.
then you have to look at the cost of acquisition of clients. How do you get these clients? Okay,
It's true.
I mean, do these people that spend that kind of money go to trade shows?
Right, yeah.
Maybe, maybe not.
right, maybe not.
They've got, so that's.
They go to
that's some-
auctions.
Yeah,
So you mentioned earlier, that's a great, I'm gonna use that as a segue, Bob. So those are all good things. I'm glad this is being recorded, so you can go back over this and take notes on what you. But trade shows and events. I would probably, how many have you been to? There we go. So I would probably suggest that you take your first 10,000 to do much more, like do trusted travel, go to these events, get some initial development work done and scoped out. Because that's going to help you do more industry research, customer research, market research, target, kind of refine people's, because you need to be in love with the problem, not the solution, right? Because if you're in love with how, you need to learn how people use things and how they do things so you can give them the best experience, right? Even though you might have your own set of experiences that helped you get to where you are now, when you're going to be serving a marketplace, you have a lot more research to do. But I think, excellent presentation.
yes.
Really?
Yeah, excellent presentation. You did a very good job. I could tell you were on my face.
Oh.
Well, you keep going like this, right? But even better than the last time I saw this. So I would suggest you continue on your journey. Yeah, I'd suggest continue on your journey. And until you have a business structure and EIN and things like that, you can't go after brands. So those are the things you need to look at with your first 10 grand. So, you might need to follow your LLC and some other really boring paperwork pieces like that.
Right, you don't have a shell company or anything yet for this. No, this is just DBA.
Right.
Okay.
And you also need to file perhaps for patent pending or something, which is only like $238 or $300.
You can jump through those hoops.
Yeah.
You started off with the boxes, the guy,
Yes.
the kid, he got it. And we're doing an auction for my club for hand gear.
He had a
So,
different story.
yeah, I like this idea of a ghost in your commercials, standing behind, like in Star Wars, they have the Force ghost of the Jedi that got killed.
I
and he's-
didn't see it.
Okay, well, that's a younger audience, man. Anyway. So you just have like a ghost, like Ghost Dad or something, standing behind, beaming proudly as the kids are proudly showing up their car. Anyway, working in a little supernatural.
Yeah.
thing.
I might just end on this. So you are gonna grade the cards, correct?
That's a feature
Phrases.
that I hope to add later.
So would that pull from PSA, like you send in cards and then they would give you the grade? How do you plan to be credible with your grade? Like, would it be based off of stats and you give them a grade like this is a good player you can use on your team for the gamification, or would you be grading based off of the quality of the card?
Quality.
Okay.
Always quality of the card.
card. So you would try to essentially be not a new PSA, but just a new grading service alone. You wouldn't leverage any other services to get it graded.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm just curious because that's what I was thinking, but I just know that PSA, I think they charge quite a bit of
So
money.
what is PSA?
It's just, so like, I was just on their website.
It's how
It's
they do
just, if
appraisals.
you have,
Oh, appraisals to grade
Any
the
type of-
physical quality of the card.
and it's got like,
If they're already well known and
How-
blah, blah, you should. leverage
it's
that.
just like, even to the point of like where the edges are lined up, like when
Right.
it was printed, you could have a rare card, but it was
Ah.
printed bad
How it was cut.
and everything. So I mean,
Oh,
just,
geez.
I just wanted to make sure you knew all those different
Yeah, no,
variables.
I've had cards graded in the past.
And it even takes, does it take months even? So it's,
It can.
that's a whole nother thing. So I don't know how hard that would be.
Well, hence, that's why AI, but see, AI is only as smart as the information you feed it,
Right.
right? And so that would be, it'd almost be, Daniel, like, they need to partner with PSA and get all those.
Right.
Which is why you should patent. what
How many makers?
Very-
Sell your patent,
Sports
license
cards are
your
there?
patent.
Were there
Many makers.
makers? Yeah, different.
Tops, Bowman, Upper Deck. That's the three, I think the three major.
Okay, so
Donruss.
what you said is you would use your camera on your phone and take a picture of the card, both sides, right?
Go do a presentation.
Because how's it gonna know from one side
That's,
who
yeah.
made that thing?
Good to see you in person.
So nice.
Okay. I just wondered.
Great for people.
Yeah.
I was hoping instead of just doing one card at a time, you can lay down maybe 10,
Okay.
15.
Okay,
The only last thing I would say is that, since not everybody knows, different sports, cards and things like that, like tops and upper deck and stuff like that, you might think about, how you would work, depending on your audience, how you work that information in as well. People, like a lot of us in the room already know that, but, just think about like the next time that you present this to somebody who potentially could be.
Assume we know nothing.
Assume I know nothing.
It's like I explained,
Like
like what
7-year-old or whatever they.
Believe it or not, most people, Famiko, would you have known the name of the trading cards? Would you have known that there was companies like Tops and Upper Deck?
Yeah,
and-
I know.
Right.
Like Tops, a trading card creator or company, you know.
Right. Or list the top, like you just been a moment ago, and said, well, those are the top three. So that would be the only, I mean. I have to go give a presentation at the library. I'll let you guys.
Do we have any other questions?
well, I'll say one thing. When I saw what the presentation was going to be today, I had my doubts. But I wanted to come and hear you, and I think you got a great idea.
Thank you very much.
I really like the story in the beginning as well.
Yeah, how much is that Kobe Bryant?
Yeah, honestly.
By the way.
50 or.
It was probably 150 of them, dude. It was just laid out.
And they're worth like thousands each or?
I believe if it's like a mint 10,
You gotta get them graded.
$8,000.
Really?
Yeah, but it's gonna be
80
nothing
or
but go
80?
up,
Yeah.
8,000.
because he has passed
None of them
away.
were graded though. I mean, that's like a mint perfect condition.
I see. So the grading.
I talked about this stuff all day.
Thanks.
The
All right.
rookie Kobe's, rookie Allen Iverson, rookie Thurman Munson, Ron Gidry.
I just wish they were
76.
as, because Pokemon cards, I mean, they go sell for $1 million a card.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Jesus. I gotta say, this grading thing throws a big wrench into it all that I didn't realize.
Yeah. that's
Because
why-
like the raw knowledge of what card it is and what year is not, it can be a huge range
It
from
needs to be
10 to $10,000.
physically graded.
Yeah, because there's two things. It's who the player was and what the grade of the card is.
Yes, this is, that's a problem. The grade of the card would be,
But,
I mean-
but you could have a card of a really, really good player that's not in a great shape, but you're still gonna get more money from that than you are
Yeah,
from.
exactly,
Right.
yeah.
I see, that's probably why the other system doesn't have a direct market through the system. Because they can't be responsible for telling you the grade and everything like that.
Yeah,
They offer the prices just for raw cards. Like this is the average price. And people are
So you could
raw
buy that, get it graded and make a profit
cards,
eventually.
possibly.
Oh, so in a sense, the buyer beware, like you're saying, well, I mean, you can see a picture of the person's actual card, right? So like the buyer would be able to see not just the standard picture in the database, but okay, this is the actual card, just like anything on eBay. And you look at the different angles and you decide if you think it's worth it.
Sort of like buying
It's a
some
great-
coins, like you have a rare coin, you go to a
Right.
coin shop, it's not graded, you
Right.
buy it for $20 and
Right.
sell it for a bunch.
I see.
Okay, do our closing statements here.
Okay.
Yes, so great presentation. We're just gonna close out. Again, my name is Chanel Hamilton. I'm your guys' host, organizer, and I think no, that's my name. And then Eva is our chapter lead. And we want to thank our community sponsors, Morgan Stanley, Chico Start, GrowTech, Global Entrepreneurship Network, T-Bar, Build.com, Startup Grind, Explore Butte County, and Stouble Coffee. Just some upcoming events for us. We have our mentor preview night tonight at 5:30 at Parkside. We have the Reading Venture Conference on April 8th. We just had our Data Science Fest, so that's old news. So yeah, if you want to stay up to date with us, there's our QR code for the Chico Start newsletter. We're here every week at 9 a.m. on Zoom. Next week we'll have a different presenter. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for coming out today. And I hope you guys have a good day.
And one more round of applause.